All the way from the start, I can feel it in my heart, like all the way from the start.
Hey, what's going on out there? It's Sean Devine, and I had a request to do my top 10 plugins for compressors for specifically hip hop vocals. So I just want to go through my list of my picks for what I think are really useful compressors and ones that you're going to be able to get some interesting sounds and unique characters out of once you kind of get a feel for how to use them. One thing I do want to preface y'all is that, if you don't have a lot of plugins right now, don't worry about trying to get all these or even, a large number of compressors to start with. I would highly recommend just getting used to the stock compressor in your DAW and just maximizing what you have and then just getting these slowly over time. I've collected these over the years and we'll use one for a while and get a feel for the sound, but they all work a little bit differently and they're going to give you different flavors. So once you get used to them, it's just nice to be able to reach into the toolbox and pull out something that's appropriate for the specific vocal. So anyways, let's jump into it. These are in no particular order, by the way, just all ones that I use and really like. So the first one I'm going to talk about for a minute is the Eventide Ultra Channel. I found out about this about a year or two ago. I actually got this plugin for free from them. They were doing some kind of a promotion. So shout out to Eventide because this thing is a beast. It's very, very versatile plugin. It's not just a compressor. You've got, a lot of different things like their pitch shift algorithm is amazing. So you can do like some chorusing effects. You can do delays. You can do EQ. So this is a channel strip, but the reason why it's in this list is because this compressor is nice, and this oppressor, which is like a really aggressive sounding kind of compression, if you want it to be, that's really cool as well. But I just like the tone and the flavor of this one, especially when you really heavily compress stuff. I just did a tutorial on my channel on parallel compression. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. But using it for that, this is a really, really good option. And again, I love the tone. It's got like a vintage, just warm, thick sound to it. So that's the Eventide. Next on the list is going to be the Pro C by FabFilter. This thing is just super versatile. I use it probably more than any other compressor. It works on just about anything, and it's real transparent. That's what I would describe a lot of FabFilter plugins as, is they're just really clean sounding. Not a lot of coloration or anything, but if you just want like a solid, nice sounding compressor, this is the one to go to. And you've got some different styles here, and I think these kind of color it a little bit, but I usually just stick it on clean and just play with the settings. But it really is easy to dial in a nice compressed vocal with the FabFilter Pro C. I have not upgraded to the Pro C2. I know there's a new version out with some different features, but this one works really well. And you've got some side chaining options and things, but really, again, just a great go-to compressor. So the next one, this is Waves R compressor, the Renaissance compressor. All the Renaissance plugins are kind of like industry staples. I mean, they all sound really good, been around a long time, but this compressor specifically, I use it whenever I have a really thin vocal. If it's just like a super digital sounding vocal, this one will color it up and warm it and give it some thickness. It definitely has a lot of color to it. So if you're looking to flavor some things, this is a really good one, and you can smash the heck out of things and give it a cool vibe and sound. So check that one out. I think that's included with Waves Gold as well as the Renaissance bundle. So that's a one you would certainly want to have in your toolbox. Next one, the CLA 76. This is just a go-to for, again, kind of adding color. This one has a certain character to it, and this one's way different than I would say, like the Pro C or something more transparent, because I like to use this one kind of in tandem with another compressor that's doing like the heavy lifting, and then I just kind of lightly touch it with this one just to give it that character. I'm not so much doing all the heavy lifting with this compressor specifically. But I really like the tone that it gives to vocals. So try using that, maybe right after your main compressor, and just give it some light flavor with this one. Next on the list is, oh man, this is a great plugin. It's McDSP 6030 Ultimate Comp. The reason why I really like this one is because you've got so many different options here. So these are all, different flavors and algorithms of compressors. This one's based on like the 76, similar to the CLA. You've got stuff that's based on like the Universal Audio, an Opto C, Opto L, U67, MooTube. So just all these different kinds of sounds. A British C. And the cool thing about it is once you've dialed in a compression setting, so if I do the threshold or whatever output, as I switch, it will maintain that setting on the threshold, attack, or whatever. So you can really just go through as you're playing the vocal back and figure out which one sounds best for the vocal, which is really cool, really convenient. I think they have a EQ that's the same way. I haven't had a chance to check that one out, but I would highly recommend this compressor. It's got a great sound. Specifically, I like that Opto C. I believe this is based on the Universal Audio. It may be the LA610. I don't know. I'm not sure, but it definitely has that kind of sound to it. So it's really, really nice sounding compressor. Next one, this is by Native Instruments. This is Solid Dynamics. This one makes the list because it's included, I believe, with Native Instruments Ultimate, or not Ultimate, Complete, I'm thinking of. And it's just a good SSL-based processor and nice sound. Real easy to dial in. It's also got a gate expander on it. So check that one out. Next, H-Comp. This is a great compressor. It's got your analog control, which I'm not a big fan of the analog controls on Waves. I usually will just turn it off because it's adding some noise. If you leave it there, it's not going to hurt anything, but I usually turn that off. But the cool thing about this one is you got this punch control, which it kind of controls the transient, like the transients of the sound, and you can give it more presence even if you're kind of highly compressing things. It's a cool feature there. I also like the mix control, because this is essentially like having your parallel comp. You can kind of mix in the wet and the dry. Really convenient there. Release time, you can time it according to BPM, which is really nice. You can also use it as a limiter. This thing is a very, very nice compressor. I think it's really affordable from Waves, so that one's great. Next on the list, oh man, the stock compressor in Logic Pro X. This one is just it's a go-to as well because of it's a nice sounding compressor, and they give you a lot of these different flavors as well. And I like the way they updated it, because it didn't used to be like this in terms of the interface changing and the remapping of the controls. I like the way they improved that for LPX, and it's a good sounding compressor as well. I like this distortion control. That's a great feature. And then on some of them, oh yeah, so you got your sidechain. That's the biggest perk to me about the Logic compressor, is the sidechain options within Logic and the DAW. Like routing it to this sidechain is so easy. I mean, you just route it, switch it to sidechain mode. You can do a filter for the sidechain. So if you only want to be chaining, above or below certain frequencies, you can do that. You can listen in on what you're actually triggering. It's really nice for the sidechain. So that's really the main use for me. But a great one. And if you only have this, like if you are a Logic user and you only have this compressor, you're still good. I mean, all these other ones, they're great and they sound awesome. They're not free. You gotta, pay a little bit to get them. But again, if you only had this, you would be okay. Like you can make good music. You can make good hip hop vocals with just that compressor. So don't fret too much if you don't have all these other ones. This is the V-Comp, which I believe is based on the Neve. It's by Waves. I used this one a lot, extensively when I first got the gold bundle. This is one of the better compressors in there, in my opinion. Just has again a really good sound. It also has a de-esser section, which is nice to have. And last, but certainly not least, this is not a traditional compressor in the sense that it's a multi-band compressor, but you can use this one on a vocal just as well, if not in some cases a lot better, because you can control your frequency bands. So you've got thresholds for each of these bands individually, and can control them and use it essentially like a de-esser, or just controlling certain frequencies as needed. And it gives you a lot more control over a traditional compressor in that way. So this is just essential to have in the toolbox. They also have C6. I don't have C6, but this one seems to be enough for me, at least at this point. And I use it all the time, not just on vocals, but this is great for a hip hop vocal. You can pull up some presets and just kind of go from there with it. But anyways, that's my top 10 compressor plugins for hip hop vocals. All these are going to give you some nice flavors to work with in your recordings. So I hope this is helpful, y'all. Be sure to check these out, and appreciate the likes and subscribes. We'll talk to you soon.